Dudes to Dads, brought to you by Dad University, is a podcast to help men understand and navigate the transition of being a single dude into a family man. How do we make sense of it all? Well, we probably won't be able to, but let's go ahead and have some fun trying. And we are back.
We are back.
I'm Jason Kreidman.
I'm Alan Bush.
And this is Dudes to Dads, episode 149.
We are one episode away from 150, according to my math.
3 years of podcasts.
Yes. It's now come to a crescendo.
I know. For those of you joining us on Facebook Live, hello.
Hello.
Alan also has Facebook Live running personally because he can't get enough of it.
He's
obsessed with it now.
And now I'm obsessed with it. Jeez. I never did it, and now I'm doing it now. I'm like crazy. So.
That's awesome. Well, we want to make sure we give a good show. And what's interesting is we're going to try to give a good show without being prepared.
Right.
Isn't that
this
interesting?
Is off the cuff episode.
It's a little bit off the cuff.
Almost all of them are off the cuff, but you usually have something written down.
I have a lot of show notes that I have the topics and the points that I want to make.
Right.
This one is primarily in my head, and that's not good.
Okay.
Or it could be great.
Okay.
Either way.
This is how I do every show.
Right. And that's some insight. You actually, I bring the topic, but that's part of it is the newness for you and the freshness is like you don't really know what we're talking about until we get into it.
That's true. Yeah.
So you don't have any bias or anything else.
Yep. Didn't come prepared.
And that works really well. For me, I have to be prepared because I have to let us know what we're going to talk about.
You are the host and perpetuating the show.
So in this episode, I am calling it "Put the Phone Down When You're With Your Children."
Yes.
That's what it's called.
Okay.
So let me explain how this came about. I've been ranting about electronic use.
Yes.
And primarily it's been about like kids using electronics. And I mean, that's been a lot of it.
Sure.
I am now to the point where I think there needs to be a movement for adults, specifically parents, that is about putting their phone down when they're in the presence of their children.
Yeah.
Now, you don't have to have children. I think you put your phone down in the presence of your friends and your family members and everything else.
Right.
But this is how this came about. So we went on a family vacation or, short vacation for a weekend and saw extended family, had a wonderful time. And during that vacation, I was very mindful of the use of electronics and specifically phones.
Yeah.
With the people that were around me, not necessarily even talking about my own group, my own family. I was talking just like we went to an event and I was watching people. We went out to dinner and I was, observing and stuff, trying not to be too distracted.
Sure.
But basically, here's what my thought process is that when you are on your phone, you are not present.
True.
At all.
Yeah.
You can't be. You can't be present.
Yeah, you can be half listening, but you're not really engaged.
And so we were, as an example, we were playing miniature golf, and there's other kids playing miniature golf and such, and seeing parents on their phones. And, the parents aren't playing, they're watching. Now, I understand when your 7-year-old or 5-year-old is playing miniature golf, it's probably not that exciting. However, you're not present.
Well, yeah, and they pick up on that, I would imagine.
That's what I'm trying to get.
Yeah,
exactly.
For sure.
You make a
okay.
Right on the nose.
Yeah.
The point is that our children know that we're paying attention or not. Mm-hmm. And I understand, we have work. And there's sometimes where we have to double where we can still do work, yet spend the time with our kids.
Yeah.
But I'm going to actually say that I think it's better if you didn't spend that time with your child, you got your work done, and then you concentrate on the time that you can spend with your child.
I 100% agree with that. And a matter of fact, even if I'm not at work, and the reason why people can't get a hold of me is because everything's on silent. Mm-hmm. I don't really check my phone that frequently. So it might be to a fault almost, but a lot of times I don't pick up my phone and get on it every 5 to 10 minutes. Even if I'm with somebody, I try not to do that.
And some people will say, hey, you're romanticizing the way that it used to be. Like we used to have without phones and everybody was great. But I would just totally disagree. And watching the behavior, I'll give you another example. I'm sitting at my child's sport. My kids are in martial arts. And sitting in the waiting room, watching the kids do martial arts. And let's say there's 10 parents there. and grandparents or whatever.
Yeah.
9 of them are on their phone.
Yeah.
9 of them.
Yeah.
Now, are they working? Are they? No, they
guarantee.
are on Facebook.
Yeah.
They are potentially shopping. Now, I understand it's a holiday. You don't have the time.
Right.
Now, is the expectation for a parent to be on, let's say, all the time? On meaning with their kid? No. But I guarantee you, because I saw this very specifically, I saw a child in the class turn over to look at their parent and kind of saying like, hey, mom.
Yeah, like.
And she had her face buried in their phone.
That's makes me sad.
It does. And so to me, that's where I want to start a hashtag, put the phone down.
Ironically, they'd have to use their phone to see that.
Yeah, no, it's something I really strongly believe that our children deserve the attention.
Well, and that's why they want to see you. The reason why you're there, so they can see you doing those things, and that's what they want to show. You don't know when they're going to turn around and look at you. So just like you said, put it down and pay attention.
And part of it is for them, but the other part is for you. And the idea, I know, this is something that sometimes I consciously have to do because I've got a text or I've got an email or I've got some call I need to make or whatever. But that's where I'm saying is if you need to do those things, it's really hard to be present. It really is. And I think that as a parent, the child will see that. The child knows it. And ultimately, you're just not present when you're doing that.
I also feel it's kind of, well, not kind of, but it is unhealthy to be distracted so frequently. You can't. It's like we already all have ADHD anyway. Could you imagine by the amount of distractions you have on your phone that you keep going back and forth and look? That's training.
Yeah,
you to have ADHD.
Here's the thing: the phones can be wonderful.
Yeah.
We're recording the podcast.
Oh, sure. Technology is beautiful. I love
Facebook
technology.
Live, whatever. We're recording using phones. They're great. We can be remote and you can use it to, do your work and email and text and communicate with people. The problem is that we've become such power users of these devices that it has distracted from the human interaction.
Absolutely.
I'll give you another example. We're at dinner. I look over. There's a table of 4 people, 4 adults. I don't know their relationship, meaning there was 3 males and 1 female. I didn't know if they were family, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. I don't know. 3 of the 4 people at any given time were on their phone.
Yeah.
Now, could they have been just friends and saying, hey, we're trying to hook up with a bunch of people later and this is what we're trying to figure out what we're going to do? I don't know. But I did see one of the person's phones that I just happened to look over and see. And it was basically a guy getting Snapchats from some women while he's at dinner.
With
his
another
friends,
woman.
Or whoever. Well, I don't know if he was with that other woman.
Draw a whole.
Yeah, I don't want to get him in trouble. Who knows?
Yeah. Right.
But I'm sitting there going, I'm thinking to myself, I just looked over, and I'm having a great time. I'm with my family and we're laughing and my kids had dessert for dinner instead of dinner because it was fun. It was a fun time. And I'm sitting there and I just looked over and I was like, wow, these people are missing out in my mind.
Yeah.
Granted, they might feel totally different. And that is, for many people, that's the connection that they do have. But I can tell you that there is just nothing that substitutes from the human interaction.
No, you need that. And again, I know like you said earlier, it's like romanticizing the old
school. Granted, I'm talking about this for myself too. I'm not saying I never do this.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I am guilty of it. It's something that now in the new year, I am conscious of and knowing, hey, when I'm with my children, we already have no phones or no electronics at a table.
Sure. Well, you have rules in place for that.
Correct.
With your family.
Correct.
Yeah. It's interesting because I've seen this scenario just like you described several times when I'm out with people and I see a table full of people and they're all on their phone. It's it's frustrating to me. And if I'm with people and the majority of them are on their phone, I probably would make a distraction or bang my glass really loud or something just to kind of get back in the. Now, thankfully, a lot of my friends aren't like that, but it's so frustrating. Like you said, there's nothing that substitutes real life human interaction.
Yeah, there's no question. The kids, the younger kids, that's how they communicate. They communicate via social networks, and then maybe they are, quote, more social than we were. They have 500 friends that they're actively communicating.
Right.
But I guess is it a lost art? Are we losing the ability to communicate personally, to look somebody in the eye, to understand what they're talking about, to feel what they are feeling, the empathy, whatever.
Yeah.
It feels, and that's why I said, maybe I am just old school. Which part of it,
Yes, you are.
Well, yeah. And I remember Gary Vee talking about, the idea that it's more meaningful for someone to write a handwritten letter than it is for a text.
Sure.
That's what people think.
Right.
But meanwhile, people of now, the new generation, they don't care about that. To them,
I remember,
a text is personal.
Yeah, I wrote my grandfather. My handwriting's terrible, so I typed out a letter to my grandfather, but I sent it old school snail mail, and he appreciated it. Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with certain ideologies, but old school doesn't mean it goes away. There's certain values that we might have, like being polite and holding a door open for somebody, or things like that.
The thing I guess I feel like there's great ability to communicate and be social and do all those things. I mean, they're good tools.
Yeah.
I just feel like the timing of them is important.
That's exactly the point. Because if you let's just go old school. If you all of a sudden just started writing a letter while I'm talking to you,
right,
I'd be like, what are you doing?
Right.
But why is that okay on your phone?
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Totally.
You're writing a letter or a little mini letter.
Yeah. If me and you 10 years ago were out grabbing a beer.
Yeah.
And we're
middle of the conversation.
I take out a pad,
pen, and
paper, and start writing. And just a quick note. It's
just
a quick note.
I'm jotting some stuff down here.
Right. And I don't know how to articulate that in any other.
Make a sketch.
That is a great example. But the overarching thing is presence.
Yeah.
We had our expert Johnny Blackburn in here.
Yeah.
Talking about presence, and I would be curious to get his point of view, but I know that presence has to do and affects happiness. The interaction with people, your ability to listen. I mean, there's so many things that it affects that it seems like it would, the relationship becomes degraded, or the perception also too that hey, that device is just more important than I am.
Yeah, and I think that's especially with kids, because they pick up on so much. We talk about this a lot, and
they're just used to it.
But I mean, the kids pick up that you're not in tune with,
and but they're used to it. That's what's concerning.
Right.
Like they're maybe becoming immune to it because they just know, that's just the way that it is. Like they don't know any different.
Society is like that now,
right?
For them, right. But that'll make you even all the better if you're the one paying attention.
Yeah. And
I feel like even if they're used to it or whatever, they're still going to pick up and they're like, okay, well, he's not paying attention, so I'll just...
Yeah, I mean, I've had, whether it's my kids, make a comment or something. And so I definitely have reduced the usage, especially around them, and just understanding that it's kind of rude. I guess that's the best way.
Well, I think even if they're indoctrinated in that culture, I personally feel that they actually do pick up on it until they get used to it.
Right.
Then they habituate to this negativity.
Right.
But the immediate response is, "Oh, you're not paying attention to me." Right. You know what I mean? It's just, so they get distracted. So I don't know. I think there's an innate thing that comes with just paying attention, being present, like you said.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's something we're going to start the hashtag. Put the phone down, or put your phone down.
Put your phone
down.
Put your friend's phone down.
I just think it's something as a parent to maybe pledge for 2018 that, when you are, quote, parenting or being a parent, this goes for being a spouse or being in a relationship as well. It's the same thing. It's
for sure. Or even just friendships.
Right. I mean, you're sitting out to dinner with a spouse or, significant other. It's just not cool.
Yeah.
I just don't see it because it gives the signal that something else is more important. And even if that's not that's not what you're like, you don't think that way,
right?
At all. Like they are way more important than your phone. Although I don't know that people would say that,
right?
It does give the impression to the other person who's there with you, that they are not important and that they are not a priority.
Yeah. And I totally think that. And again, regardless of what generation you come from, that message is very clear from childhood all the way to your parents' age.
So this is a little bit different of a podcast, but I felt like this was something that I had to get out. I was really bothered by it over and over again as I paid attention to it.
For sure.
And it just keeps happening, and I keep noticing it. It's, whether it was at a kid's recital to, and I got to be conscious of it too. I mean, even sometimes it's kind of even the same lines. Like you're taking pictures and taking video. You're not present. You're looking at the pictures in the video.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like put the phone down and watch.
Yeah, exactly. Like how could you be possibly
so you can
nostalgic?
enjoy it later.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to enjoy it now.
Yeah,
I want to enjoy it later.
That drives me nuts too, because like, and nothing wrong with capturing the moment once or twice, but then just watch, be a part of this show.
Right.
So silly.
What are we going to do?
Be nostalgic
How
about?
are we going to fix this world?
Start with the hashtag.
Hashtag put your phone down. Twitter. What else? What else uses hashtag?
Instagram.
Oh, okay.
Your
phone went off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if anybody has any input about putting your phone down, whether you have good examples, you're in support of this, you disagree with it, love to hear from you. Alan, what should they do?
Email podcast@dudesdads.com, Twitter @dudesdads, Facebook dudesdads.com, and go to YouTube and watch all the wonderful videos on Dudes to Dads and Dad University.
Cool.
Please also go to iTunes and Stitcher and leave some 5-star reviews. We'd love to hear more from you about those things and perpetuate the show through those podcatchers. So thank you very much.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right. Well, rant over. I just
over.
wanted to get that off my chest. For episode 149, we're going to plan something really exciting for 150.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It could just be another episode.
It could be another exciting episode.
We'll go live. I'll use jazz hands.
Yeah,
I don't know what. We'll do something.
very animated.
Anyways, for those of you who enjoyed this on Facebook Live, thank you. And Alan, thank you. And
Thank you.
we will see you next time.
See you next time.